Welcome everybody to the week's news review for Star Citizen, the week ending in the 2nd of April 2022. I'm DarkHour717 and today we will be going over the past week's updates and all the information from around the Star Citizen universe. Before we get started though, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button as it really helps me out in our goal of reaching 5,000 subscribers. I truly appreciate it and it really helps get the videos out to more people. So this week we had a lot happen in the verse with the Jump Point releasing late last week after I already did the update, but if you're a subscriber, definitely recommend checking it out. It has an in-depth article on the ins and outs of the development of the refueling, also has a mini quick guide that's very helpful. It then moves on to the development of the rivers and their environments, which is a great read, and then also a Galactopedia update covering different topics such as triggerfish. Now, what triggerfish is the Star Citizen equivalent to April Fool's Day, and it covers its origins and customs and traditions. After that, we have a detailed article on Clark Defense Systems, and that's the armor that they brought to us in last month's subscriber flare, which honestly, I really like this armor. It's a great heavy set of armor and looks really good. Finally, after that, we got a look at April's subscriber flare, which is going to be the Scrollwork Showdown pistol from Hedeby Gunworks and Klaus & Werner. There's going to be a total of 3 pistols featured, and of course, as always, subscribers will get 1 or 2 of those 3 in their hangar. Monday, we saw the typical This Week in Star Citizen update with nothing much to note, but really by this time, we all knew that we were going to be seeing patch 317 hit PTU at any time now. Though this really didn't happen until later in the week, which we'll cover here in a moment, but Tuesday we did have a Galactopedia update with a long list of available items to explore. One full-length feature article, which was called Givers of the Patron of the Arts Award, followed by almost 24 short articles. If you're into the lore, absolutely recommend checking these out and giving them a read, as they always do a great job with the lore and telling these stories. We also saw the release of the Alpha 317 ship refueling info on the RSI site, and this kind of walks you through the process from request to docking and request to fuel and how payments work. I'll be doing a more in-depth video on refueling in the near future, so keep your eye out on that here on YouTube. Wednesday, we did get the latest in Roadmap Roundup, where we saw the progress tracker show the creation of an editor tool being added in the Squadron 42 feature team schedule, and this will allow the creation of files defining setup for specific checkpoints, such as spawned entities, their positions, and loadouts. Then on the release view, we saw the Hull A as confirmed and a go for patch 317, with an update on the Scorpius and the fact that it's progressing well and currently appears to still be on time for a later 317X patch. And to top off Wednesday, we had the release of patch 317 to Wave 1 PTU late in the course of the night. This obviously is somewhat unusual, and the reason for this being such a late release is unknown, and just a bit baffling that it just didn't get released the very next day at the normal time. But it was pushed out just the same though, with one big caveat. As it was found looking at the patch notes, a large disclaimer was made that comments on patch notes was turned off, and that the patch itself was found to have a higher than normal number of bugs. Now we all know the PTU is a test environment, and it's buggy to begin with. But in the 2+ years that I've been playing, I don't recall ever seeing SIG come out with a warning and an announcement as to how vast the bugginess is going to be in a patch. We did end up going into the patch Thursday evening off stream, and we were actually running okay for a short bit. Then the problems really started with the inability to leave New Babbage. And this was because the elevators were not accessible and not operating properly, locking people into New Babbage itself, and they couldn't get out of the buildings to get picked up by friends or get the elevators up to the spaceport to be able to fly out on their own. We also saw a number of infinite load screen issues, and some even had to recopy or character reset to get into the patch altogether. But overall, we were able to get a couple hours in until it turned into everyone in party was getting the infinite load screens with no way to resolve it. Then we came to Friday's stream and seemed things were a bit smoother. We avoided New Babbage as there were still issues with getting off planet from there because of the elevators, and some reported that Lorville was at times suffering the same issue. Though we were able to get some refueling in and a visit to the river on Microtech before it was announced that patch update was being released that night. So midstream we had to exit, and we were excited that maybe some of the issues were going to actually be resolved. And boy, could I not have been more wrong. While waiting for the push, we actually looked at the patch notes, and it oddly appeared to state, attention, there are some elevator and ship spawning issues with this new build that could possibly be worse than the current PTU patch. And they'll be monitoring the PTU and may have to roll back to the previous build if this is much worse than what it already is. Now, the patch notes themselves were a mix of repeating items from the original 3.17 patch notes with nothing really too different with the exception of the introduction of the Hull A. This had been added for testing, which was exciting, and we switched gears to focus on testing the Hull A and trying it out. Initial attempts to log in resulted in infinite load screens, and after backing out and trying to come in a couple more times, through other regions, word came out that a hotfix was being implemented immediately to deal with the logging in issues. So we waited for the hotfix to get completed, and then we reattempted entry into the PTU, and after about an 8-minute load time, we discovered the need to recopy accounts to receive the Hull A. So back we went to recopy our accounts. We got that done, and after 3 more attempts to get in, we were finally in Loreville, only to find we were severely hit with the ship claim and spawn bug. This is where you pull an available ship to only have it go to an unknown status and not be retrievable. Apparently, only fix for this is to spawn the ship above it in your ASOP list and then destroy it, and for some reason this corrects the issue and makes it claimable again. But when we tried, it bugged every ship we tried to pull and put it into an unknown status. So character resets would be the only other option we would have. So we went into Arena Commander to at least get a look at the Hull A in free flight mode, and though we were able to get done what we wanted to look at, it was not without some hassle as someone felt the need to just shoot every Hull A that was sitting on a pad being looked at, then start camping the spawn point and shooting it down within seconds of it reappearing. Thankfully, one of our members finally made it back into the PTU, and we decided to try to join him, and several attempts later finally had room on his server to join, and after several minutes of loading screen, we 30k'd the server. After that, we never actually made it back into the PTU for more gameplay due to infinite load screens, and we ended up calling it a night for the stream. Am I concerned for the state of the PTU? Absolutely. Currently, as of the end of the stream last night, it pretty well has done everything but implode in on itself. Today I'm hearing of some better luck that people are having, and I'm going to be doing my character reset and recopying my account to try it again later today. Even with all this hassle and issues currently though, I have faith that CIG is working on it, and by the time this goes live, I feel confident that the bugs and the issues will be worked out to create a playable state. So yes, they do have the comments finally turned back on for the latest patch notes for the PTU, but remember the biggest key to fixing things is using the issue console reports and contributing to already existing reports that are in there. I will be looking forward to continue testing throughout the PTU and will bring more information as I can, and thankfully we have time for them to work out all of these concerns. One thing to definitely note is that after the push last night, there actually is a returning bug with the friends list in PTU as well, so keep that in mind and the workaround of going into the PTU Spectrum and putting a post in the general chat area, and then you can add and remove friends from there. This then brings us to Thursday and the latest in Inside Star Citizen, and this was actually the last episode of the quarter before they go on break. And I really loved this one as we got to see the first look at a new concept, the Misk Expanse, a small refinery ship that will make the perfect partner to the Prospector. Outfitted with 6 reactors, it can actually run up to 6 different refining processes simultaneously. The ship itself is a single pilot ship and runs a small refinery in the bulk of its hull. Operates with 8 ore bags attached, 4 on each side, and carries with it the traditional Misk look and appeal. Unknown currently as far as all the specs, pricing, or the release date, there's still a lot to be learned that we'll actually be figuring out over the next couple weeks. I personally am excited for this as it may help us evolve in our mining operations along with the new mining gadgets that are now out in 3.17. So as we find out more on this newest edition, I'll make sure to bring everyone up to date with any new information. The remainder of the show is dedicated to the overview of all the new features for 3.17. This includes the Hull A, mining gadgets, ship component, transportation, one-touch ATC requests, and a whole lot more. If you didn't get around to checking this show out, I definitely recommend it. And stick around through the end of the show for a hilarious bit of outtakes from the entire season. And finally, on Friday, we got a number of April Fool's Day specials, one being the Mesher dating app for Inverse was announced, as well as the patch notes for patch 3.16.2. If you've not read these, you really need to, and there'll be a link in the description. It's actually filled with jokes aimed back at the CIG staff over some of the things that they've caught the most flack over the last year. And it is actually a really good read. This really highlights the staff and their ability to make fun of themselves, and it's really great to see this side of them. And finishing us off was the last episode of the season for Star Citizen Live, and this was definitely a fun and interesting one. Opening up with 16 minutes of a black screen being serenaded to by Jared and Jeremiah, to tunes such as I Don't Love Anybody But You, We Don't Want No Scrubs, of course the Disco Lando tune, and a classic Radiohead tune, Creep, and closing with Just the Two of Us. This was really great as it really displayed the humorous side of their personalities as well as really fits in with the April Fool's Day. Honestly, it didn't sound very bad at all. Of course, they did eventually get on with the show where Jared and Jeremiah traded places and Jared took on the drawing as Jeremiah tried hosting to the best of his abilities, though at first being very distracted by the collectibles in Jared's background. As time goes on though, Jeremiah actually starts being impressed by the drawing skills that Jared is showing as they design Jeremiah into a space clown. Of course, stick around till the end and you'll find out the reason why Jared was so good at what he was doing. And that's about it for this week in news around the verse. I hope you found this helpful and entertaining, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure to catch the finals of Fight or Flight on Atmos Esports Tournament on April 9th. Let's show some support to the PvP community as they battle it out for the top 2v2 PvP team. And get your entries in for an X52 Logitech HOTAS here on YouTube. Just subscribe and leave a comment on any video and you'll automatically be entered. You can also catch the stream every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time over on Twitch, where you can also get entered in for our Twitch giveaways, a Razer Nari Ultimate Wireless Headset. Just follow over there to be entered, and if you'd like to help support the channel, make sure to visit the merch store or the Patreon, as it's what allows us to do all the giveaways back to the community. Thanks again for viewing, and please be safe out there, and we will catch you next time.